Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 232. I am Brendan. UFC 285, John Jones versus Cyril Gane, prelims. All right, we're going to be taking care of the prelims here. We're going to be breaking down the fights round by round. Cody Garbrandt, Trevin Jones, Dricus Plessis, Brunson, Aamanda, Ribas, Viviane, Araujo. We're going to cover the rest of the prelims here. If you're looking for the main card and the main event, I broke down all of those fights in my last video. Real quick, before we break down the first fight, if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking down fights from different organizations. One, UFC, PFL, Pride. if you want me to do Pride videos, I definitely will. Okay, anyway, let's get it started. Okay, featured prelim, Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones. I mean, if you didn't watch this fight, you could probably skip it. This is there's not a lot of activity. Okay, go ahead and look at the first round, 17-7 in favor of Cody Garbrandt. Second round, 5-2 in favor of Garbrandt, and then in the last round, Jones 11-4. So really the difference maker was probably that second round and him having more control time and a little bit more strikes. But the commentary team was constantly criticizing Trevin Jones for not engaging enough, as Cody Garbrandt repeatedly backed out of every situation possible. So Cody landed some really hard body kicks to start the fight. Cody was playing the counter striker, and the boos were starting as he's dancing. So he's doing this stuff, right, where he's sitting there and dancing, and he's, fooling around with his footwork and stuff. But he's the one backpedaling. He's the one not engaging. Trevin Jones is the one moving forward. Now, I'm not criticizing Cody Garbrandt for necessarily not putting himself into a firefight where he knows he's going to get knocked out because he has no chin anymore. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're going to play this game where you're going to play the counter striker, you're going to be the veteran, you're going to be the Andre Arlovsky, the Alistair Overeem, the Yoel Romero type, where you stand around and you wait for the fight to come to you and then you counter them with your advanced technique, speed, or whatever it might be, you can't be in there talking crap. Okay, like you can't be in there dancing around and acting like an ass, like and expecting everybody else to feel good, like bad for you. Like I don't feel bad for you. You didn't want to engage. Now, if he had continued to do that, I would have just considered this another boring fight. But because he's doing that stuff, now I'm actively rooting against him. Like that's ridiculous. 10-9 Cody going into the second round. Great takedown from Cody in the second round, but they got right back up. There was no damage from that. Cody got a takedown and momentarily was stuck in a guillotine. Nothing there for that. Another stinker of a round in the second round. So, by the way, I wrote down here, do not forget this if he does manage to get a finish in the last round, which he didn't. But don't forget this, please. Please don't forget. I do not want to just see highlights of him in different sponsored shorts, okay? For those of you guys, the uninitiated here, that means it was before the Reebok deal was quite some time. I don't want to see even him in the Reebok shorts, right? I don't want to see highlights of that stuff and everybody telling me how good of a guy, how good he is, right? And how exciting of a fighter he is when he has 3 straight rounds of stink. Okay, he attempted 19 strikes in the first round, 6 in the second round, and 8 in the third. And in the third round here, I had to listen about how good Cody's lateral movement is as he skated around the outside of the cage. So clearly the commentary team had an agenda to push. And the agenda's been the same thing. And I don't think this is all Cody Garbrandt's fault. I think he has taken advantage of what has been given to him. Obviously, he won the title, and he got there when he did. It wasn't the most impressive run, but it doesn't matter. He got there. He took his opportunity that was given to him, and he took advantage of it. And then the UFC proceeded to push him as the next thing, right? Like when he got knocked out by TJ the first time, then he comes back, and you all want to say like, oh, he's on stuff. Everybody's on stuff anyway, and he passed all the drug tests. So what else do you want from him? Okay, I don't want to hear it. I really don't. Right? When he did fail, he admitted why he failed. This isn't a John Jones situation where clearly he's been on stuff, or an Anderson Silva situation where he's clearly been on stuff and they just deny. Okay? Like, people aren't calling into question their entire legacy because of one failed drug test, are they? No, they don't. They just proceed to talk about them being the GOAT. Anyway, so he gets knocked out by TJ and then immediately gets a title shot. Even though when TJ had a split decision loss to Dominic Cruz. He had to fight at least one more contender. I think he might have had to fight two, but he had to fight another contender in order to get his title shot back. Cody Garbrandt didn't defend his belt a single time and gets an immediate rematch. That's how hard the UFC was pushing Garbrandt. And he got knocked out again. They kept trying to give him exciting fighters, and he just screw the pooch, man. The UFC has been in his corner. They've been on his back trying to give him a crazy tailwind, pushing him forward consistently over the past 7 years. And it's just not working out. Stop pushing the narrative, please. Let him show his merits in the octagon, show who he really is. Because based off this third round where he took 2 big shots from Jones, he took 2 real punches this entire fight. He got rocked and then is holding on for dear life, knowing that he knowing that he won those first 2 rounds. Okay? This is how do I say this? Because I don't want to come across as disliking Cody Garbrandt. I think from his out of the octagon stuff, he seems like a good guy. He seems like a genuine dude. He cares about people, that kind of stuff. Even his fighting style. He's crazy fast, very athletic. He just makes mistakes. Okay, and he got away with that for a while based off of his athleticism. But then, he's paid for it. Severely. I mean, look at this stuff. Like, look at him come in here. So Marcus Brimage, that's a decent win, right? That's the same win that one of the guys that Conor McGregor beat. Henry Briones, not that's a nothing. Augusto Mendez, not a good one. Thomas Almeida at the time was like a killer. Like, people were talking about him being the next thing because he was on a crazy win streak. But look what happened. Like, when he started facing people of any merit, yeah, right. He's got the same amount of losses anyway. He is a 50-50 fighter in the UFC. So, Cody Garbrandt beats Takeo Mizugaki, who had a rough go of it in the end of his career, losing to all these guys, right? Okay. That was a good win, though. And then he gets the title shot after the Takeo Mizugaki one. Even though TJ Dillashaw just lost the title. Okay, so he gets the title shot. Gets the title. And this is after TJ had to go back. He fought, yeah, I was right. He had to fight 2 people. He had to fight Rafael Assunção and John Lineker, who up until last weekend was the ONE FC champion. This is the difference. You can tell when the UFC is trying to push a narrative or push a fighter. Then he goes up against TJ. He gets knocked out in the second round in the first fight, and then the second fight gets knocked out in the first round. Then he gets knocked out by Pedro Munoz because he gets in a firefight with him. Then he has this. People were calling it a crazy, like the most amazing knockout. Like, he didn't set anything up, right? It was the last second of the second round. He's just throwing something out there, and it's not luck. Like, you can say it was a lucky punch, but people make their own luck. So he's the one who threw it out there, and he landed. Then he proceeds to get decision by Rob Font in a fight where he just got demolished and then knocked out by Karkar France going down a weight class. Right? This is indicative of who Cody Garbrandt is. Right? An insanely skilled fighter with no chin. And they pushed the wrong guy. Right? They were pushing the wrong guy. Sean O'Malley's got that hype, and based off what we saw against him and Petr Yan, now we're talking, right? That's the kind of promotional push you want to see with a guy who can really push. And they're doing the exact same thing with, oh my God, the British dude. Oh, it doesn't matter. Why? I can't think of his name right now. But everybody, everybody hates him. And that's what sucks is, like, you run into this situation where you put your promotional weight behind somebody and you're expecting them to turn it out on the other side, and then you end up with this, like an average to good fighter on any given night can give you an amazing performance, or this put out a total stinker. So I don't want to harp on this too much more. Paddy Pimblett is his name, by the way. I was trying to remember. So Paddy Pimblett is the guy that they're pushing now, and he's like super hittable, but he's got some skills. Anyway, he just has a chin. So once that gets cracked, he's kind of done. All right, moving on. Let's go to some actual contenders here. Derek Brunson versus Dricus du Plessis. Great fight for what it was. This was not the most skill-filled fight, but Dricus du Plessis showing yet again that his talent and his game plan for each individual fight has worked out for him. So Dricus landed some really hard kicks, and Brunson caught one of them, took him down, and Dricus du Plessis was he was trying to roll through, but he just kept getting stuck under. He got stuck under in the initial roll through, got stuck underneath him. Brunson went for a guillotine at one point, tried to pull guard. It didn't work out for him. Du Plessis got on top. They both went for footlocks, but then Derek took the back from there. He transitioned really well and ended up taking the back. Brunson landed some big left hands when they got up, and it was a great round for Brunson. If you look at the total striking numbers here, they're only 12-9. It doesn't seem like a big difference, but those punches from Brunson were very big, and he also had a ton of control time, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Easily his round, 10-9. Second round, Brunson landed another great left hand. Dricus was retreating, and then he started landing as well. Derek was landing these stabbing front kicks, which I think he should have landed more of. But then they're calling him DDP, which is pretty cool, and it does make sense. Dricus du Plessis, DDP. So that can work. Also, it's, throwback to Diamond Dale's page. DDP. Anyway, Dricus was landed a left hand that rocked Derek multiple times. And then du Plessis landed a left hook, a right hand behind it, and it was crazy, like a crazy hard low kick. And then du Plessis just started to go off. He landed a hard right hand to the body. They went back and forth a little bit, and then Dricus landed a right hand, then a left that rocked Derek again. You can look at the striking numbers here, 62-25. Yes, Derek had his moments in the second round. He landed some back, but du Plessis was close to finishing the fight in the end of that second round, because Derek ended up on his back at one point, and then du Plessis finished the round by landing two nasty ground and pound shots, and then Derek Brunson's corner threw in the towel, which is neither here nor there for me. They know, again, I said this a couple weekends ago with the John Lineker thing. By the way, if you guys are looking for a specific fight on the card, the timestamps are down below. So his corner knows him best. I feel like that probably was the right move based off of what they were seeing. They clearly saw something that they didn't like. And now we had what was, Derek Brunson ranked number 5 and Dricus du Plessis was ranked number 10. I easily see du Plessis being in the top 7. I don't know if he's going to pass up Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa, though. So I think he could easily skip over Roman Dolidze. So I think Derek Brunson gets bounced down here into the, 8 to 12 range, and then du Plessis should end up here. I don't think he belongs above Paulo Costa. Not necessarily that I love Paulo Costa, just based off of who they fought. I don't think he belongs up there yet. Now, real quick, just to touch on it. So du Plessis made some comments leading up to the fight, right, in the press conference, talking about how he's going to be an African champion, he's going to be a real African champion. He's going to bring the belt back to Africa. None of these other guys claiming they're from Africa are going back to. Okay, there's some pushback on that, and let's just be honest and let's call it what it is. He's obviously a descendant of the Dutch or the British or somebody at some point who went down to South Africa. Okay, because he's white, right? That's what the problem is here, is he's white and he's saying he's going to be the real African champion. But taking skin color out of it, just analyzing literally what he said. He wants to be the first African champion, even if it's not the first. He wants to be the first African champion who trains in Africa, lives in Africa, born in Africa, brings the belt back to Africa. Whether you agree with him being African in your eyes or not, technically what he's saying is correct. Okay? Now, if he were to outright say other things, negatively when it came to other Africans or anything like that, then maybe we could have a discussion as him being dismissive or outright critical of other people's accomplishments. But he's not. What he's saying is that Adesanya left and he went to New Zealand. That's where he trains. That's where he lives now. He left there. He was there as a child. Kamaru Usman grew up in the United States. Even Ngannou, when he was champion, right? He came from Cameroon. He grew up in Cameroon. He's like a real. I mean, that's a real story, like a superhero story almost, right? He's started from the bottom, works his way up, finds a sport. Like he did it the way you're supposed to do it, and he did everything. But he was training in He lived in Las Vegas, man. Like he lived in the U.S. And there's a good reason for all this is because the countries that these guys are coming from don't have the infrastructure or the ability to withstand not withstand, but maintain a constant working camp with lots of individuals and that kind of thing, and they don't have a good infrastructure for all that stuff, whether the marketing and whatever it might be. It's just not built in there, and they know that, and if they want to get the right kind of talent, they got to go somewhere else. We've seen it before. Fighters in England, fighters in Great Britain, they come over to the U.S. to get looks with bigger guys or to get looks with good wrestlers. People from South America come to North America. People from North America go to Thailand. People from North America go to South America. Like, people bounce all over the place, and then some of them decide to live there and continue to train. It's just people aren't moving to Africa to train because we don't have a fight capital there yet, right? So if you look at that and you say, okay, if Dricus starts this movement for MMA, maybe even the UFC, and we get that kind of thing going there, yeah, like he could start a movement in Africa. And like the problem I have with it is when people can say African, like it's a giant continent with a ton of diversity, because people who are Egyptian are African. Okay, would there be the same amount of hate and anger thrown at an Egyptian or a Moroccan who are Arab in nature, right? Would there be the same amount of hate and anger thrown at them because they have lighter skin? Probably. Maybe not as much. Who knows? The point is, like, you go from Egypt to you have sub-Saharan Africa, you have a majority of Africa, and then you got South Africa. Okay, there's lots of different cultures in there, so being African doesn't mean you're all one people. Never has been, and I don't think it ever will be. There's too many people. It's too vast an area. So to outright to dismiss what he's saying or call him names or say it's offensive or whatever for him being proud of where he comes from and wanting to bring the belt back there, who knows? He might do some good. Let's wait and see what he does with this stuff. Let's see if he even sniffs a belt. I don't think he has the talent to do it right now, okay, or the fighting style anyway. So let's wait and let's see if he gets the belt, and let's see what he does with it, and then we will judge him from there. Let's not judge him based off of him saying he wants to be the first African champion to be born, bred, and raised in Africa, to train in Africa, to fight out of Africa, and to bring the belt back there. Okay, those are all true statements. All right. All right, that was just my piece I'm gonna say on that one. I don't wanna dive in the middle of some back and forth culture wars. Like, that's not my thing. It's just I don't like it when a guy is being criticized for saying something that's true, and he's not even being offensive. Not even not even like in the modern PC world, he's not even being offensive. Like, people just don't like what he's saying because they feel that he doesn't deserve that he shouldn't get to say it. Okay. Anyway, moving on to some female fighters here. Okay, Viviane Araujo versus Aamanda Ribas. Man, this was fun. Okay, first round here. Ribas was more active, but they both landed about the same. Ribas went for a takedown. Araujo goes for the guillotine. Ribas ends up slipping out of it. Araujo is the better striker and has the power edge, and she landed a great right hand at one point. This first round was really close. The time and control on the ground with the minimal ground and pound could give it to Aamanda Ribas, but I lean towards Araujo for the damage that she did. If you look at the striking numbers here, apparently I'm off. Apparently Ribas had way more striking, 31-18. That's not how I saw it when I was watching it live. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with the numbers. Freaking focus. I'm not disagreeing with the numbers here. I believe that they're correct. It's just one of those things where appearances don't really match what the actual numbers are. So I still gave that to Araujo. I felt like she landed more damage. I felt like she did more with that round, even though Ribas had the control and did have the striking numbers. So if you gave that to Ribas, I guess I can understand. I just didn't see that way. All right, Ribas landed a jab, then a left, and then another right that dropped Araujo in the second round. Ribas unloaded on the ground with small strikes, trying to go for an arm triangle. She worked her way to the back, and she stayed there for the whole round. I think the commentary is right. You have to give that second round a 10-8. So I had it 19-18 in favor of Ribas. Look at the striking numbers here. There's not much because it was just that initial strike that got her down, and then she spent the rest of the time on the back. So it was only 9-4 in favor of Ribas. But if you look at the control time, nearly the entire round was spent there. 4 minutes and 40 seconds of a 5-minute round on her back. So Ribas was doing a great job on the feet in this last round. She's staying composed and extending her combos much better. Ribas was landing the straight right hand. Viviane was breathing hard, slowing down, and Ribas was spinning in this round. She was mixing things up and landing well at range. Ribas went for a takedown, got stuck in an armbar attempt, but worked her way out of it, and then she started landing some ground and pound. It was a really great round for Ribas. 58 to 24 total strikes, significant strikes in favor of Ribas. Great round for her. I had it 29 to 27 for Ribas. That was a great fight for her. It was a great look. So Ron McCarthy gave all 3 rounds to Ribas, but no 10-8. Mike Bell gave 1 round to Araujo, and then Mike Bell had it the same way I had it, right? He had 29 to 27 in favor of Ribas, basically the way I saw it. And then Saul D'Amato had all 3 rounds for Ribas and gave her the 10-8. So all 3 judges' scorecards are different, but they all saw it for the same person. All right, let's cover... Oh, boy. I might have to do the early prelims on a different video. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to cover Here's the first... This is going to be the first fight of the prelims, not the early prelims. Julian Marquez versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This fight, I think this one speaks to really, really good research, game planning, and looking into who your opponent. Like I think film study, right? This comes down to film study. So Barriault did not open up with much in the first round here. Julian was mixing things up well, extending his combinations. Barriault was throwing some loopy shots. He was avoiding the exchanges, and he was consistently turning away. He was almost avoiding looking at Marquez. Julian was landing some great combos, landing that right hand almost at will. And that first round, because of the damage, for sure went to Marquez. He did outland him 48 to 32 in terms of significant strikes. Now, here's what was weird. Barriault was starting to press forward in that second round, and Julian started to look a little slow. And I think this is what the plan was the whole time. So Marc-Andre was kind of baiting him in that first round to kind of dump out, like the rope, almost doing like the rope-a-dope, right? Trying to get him to expend all that energy, get it all out of there. Barriault must have planned to do this in the first round because he stayed in the pocket and he was going 1-for-1 with him, but now he was landing the bigger shots and he was extending the combinations even more. If you look at the striking numbers in this round, it wasn't even close. 77 to 34. Arguably could have been stopped a little bit earlier. Marquez looked like he's done. His back was up against the cage. He was just huddled over. He constantly kept putting his hand. He kept putting his guard up and then hunching over, almost falling over multiple times. Barriault was digging to the body. Digging to the body and unloading elbows. I was like, holy crap, this is freaking nuts. And then Barriault just showed how to beat Julian, laying out a game plan and made it look easy in that second round. He really did. This second round, like I said, it's a picture-perfect example of how you game plan for a fighter, how you do research, and you find out what their weaknesses are. And if you're able to, it's not that everybody can withstand, an onslaught from Marquez, but if you can, we can see what's going to happen. You're going to be able to get him to gas himself out. So, Marquez has some work to do on his end by, building up that cardio a little bit, being able to monitor and meter his fighting style. Man, Marc-Andre has had a rough go of it, huh? Andrew Sanchez, Christoph Jotko, Jung Young Park, all losses. And then Abu Azaitar, Dolce Langambula. Those are good wins. And then a loss to Njikwani. Win against Jordan Wright. Loss against Anthony Hernandez. Yeah, he's got his thing. They call him Power Bar because of the cardio he has. It's nuts. And I believe he uses that as a weapon. So, all right, that's it. I'm going to I'll put this one up. If you're looking for the early prelims, I'm going to do that in the next video, so I'm not done covering it. If you're looking for the main event, the main card, that's in the last video if you haven't seen that yet. So subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. I really appreciate you all stopping by. It means a lot to me. I cover, like I said, I do 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking down fights from multiple organizations. When the PFL league starts back up, I'm going to do that again. Or the PFL regular season starts up, I'm going to start doing that one again. I do Bellator, UFC, obviously, ONE FC. Sometimes some other organizations like Cage Fighters, but I haven't done that one recently. So thank you guys so much for spending some time here. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I love y'all.